like that. And so if I am so focused on staying on the line, I can't fulfill my assignment. But my God is big enough to handle my fault, my strokes, grubs, my mess ups, because he's already prepared for what I might do. He knows what I'm going to do before I do it, and he already made preparation for me before I get there. What follows darkness is light. That darkness is the indicator that light is getting ready to shine. So there it is in Genesis, when darkness was upon the face of the deep, and God in the spirit form moved upon the face of the waters, and then God said, let there be. Because darkness precedes the light. Are you understanding what I'm saying? But he needs the darkness there so that God can move upon the face of the deep, so that the shift can take place. Listen, look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor that shift take place in the darkness. Y'all didn't hear what I just said. Everybody's not going to see the shift that's happening. They see the chaos, but they don't see the shift. They see all the craziness going on in your life, but they don't understand that underneath the darkness, God is moving in secret. He's moving in quiet. He's moving in the hidden places. He's moving in the cracks and the corners and the crevices. He's moving in places that you cannot see. And when the light comes, they're going to see a new order. Even afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
Thank you for joining us. Please take a moment and like the Facebook page. Subscribe to the YouTube page and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. If you are finding value in these enrichment sessions, please consider supporting this page financially. Your donations allow us to continue to provide spiritual enlightenment, self-exploration, and kingdom knowledge. Also, consider becoming a partner because partnerships have this privilege. As a partner, you'll be able to attend our annual Partners Only Summer Summit, join us for our 6 a.m. virtual daily guided meditation sessions, weekly advanced empowerment sessions, regular prophetic insights and instructions, 30% discount on all Emerge books and merchandise, and a custom Emerge t-shirt. You'll also gain full access to the private Emerge Movement community page as well as group chats. Once again, thank you for watching.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to the Emerge Empowerment Session. I'm your host, Isaac J. Miles Sr., and I am ecstatic that you have decided to join me in one of the most powerful places on the planet. This is Emerge. I'm so glad that you're here. We're going to get into a really good conversation this morning. I'm going to ask all of you that are watching me right now to do me a couple of favors, if you will. If you will just please like this live broadcast. Hit the like button as many times as you possibly can. Give me a bunch of hearts because that helps to increase our presence in the algorithm. So please do that for me, each and every one of you. Then I'm going to ask you to tag as many of your friends, family, loved ones in the comments as you possibly can. The comment section is open. I am going to be checking it from time to time to just see what your input, your participation is, but also that you have tagged your friends and loved ones and family and invited them to come and be a part of the conscious conversation that we're having this morning. And then share. If you would just be so kind as to take a moment and share this live on your page, as well as in any groups that you may be a part of here on Facebook, and share it. For those of you who are watching us via YouTube Live, share it in your group chat, share it with your other friends and family members, and invite them to come and participate in this conscious conversation. I'm looking over here at the comments right now and just trying to assess who's here and what's being said. I'm looking forward to having all of you to participate. Remember, again, that the comment section is open, so I want to hear your thoughts, your input, your feelings, your insights on any and everything that we discussed this morning. Today, we're going to talk about the divine nature of abundance. We're in the midst. It's day 15 of our 90 days of abundance. And I'm just excited about this time that we are in. It's harvest time, and we are concentrating our energy, putting forth our anointing, our spirit, the force, the power that we are from within to generate a magnetic field of abundance around us, in us, and through us that revolutionizes and drastically changes our lived experience by causing us to live, move, act, walk, and exist in total abundance. And so I want to talk about what abundance is and the divine nature of abundance with those of you who are watching today and are participating here with me. So get ready, get your pencil and paper or recording device or whatever you use to take notes, so that you're able to take notes, but also to ask questions and to give your thoughts and your comments as we go along in this particular conversation. So we're going to talk about the divine nature of abundance. Excuse me. The divine nature of abundance. The divine nature. Abundance is not just a natural thing. It is steeped and rooted in divinity. It is a spiritual concept and construct as well as natural. Okay, so we're going to talk about the divine nature. And in order to understand the divinity of abundance, then we have to abstract that
from the divinity of God and our own personal divinity. Since we are the divine emanation of God in the earth, we are made in the likeness and the image of God, then we possess the same divinity that exists in God itself. God as the all of everything, as the divine, as the all powerful, the omnipotent, all knowing, omniscient, always present, omnipresent, and then the always active, omniactive divine spirit that it is. Those are the essentials of divinity. Then it means that we possess that same divinity within us, and that divinity is also resident in abundance. God is abundant, so then so are we. And the abundance is expressed through the divine nature of the all of everything. And we're going to get into defining what that means and what are the implications for us as the divine expressions, animated expression of God in the earth. What are the implications of having a nature that is divinely abundant? Having a nature that is divinely abundant. Now, this again is designed to help you to shift your mindset away from poverty and lack, want, need, or scarcity, and to begin to align yourself, your thoughts, your words, your actions harmoniously with who you truly are and your divine nature. Because we, as I've said several times during the course of these conversations and sessions, as a man thinks, so is he. Whatever you think about, you bring about. How you view yourself, it provides the context for how you will live your life and what your expectations and anticipations are. How you view and perceive yourself. If you see yourself as always scuffling, scratching, and surviving, if you see yourself as always operating from the substratum of need, I need this, I need that, I'm in need of this, I'm in need of that, I want, I'm lacking, I have scarcity, I'm operating from the mindset of poverty, and just trying to keep my head above water, always looking for new ways to just survive and not thrive, then you will ultimately have that lived experience the entirety of your life. That's what you bring about. That's what you attract. That's what you draw to yourself. You have created a magnetic field around yourself that has no choice but to continue to draw toward you and you toward those things that reflect what is your most dominant thought. As a man thinks, so is he. What you think about, you bring about. If your mind is always focused on the next thing that I need, want, lack, or that I am striving to get, working to get, then you will always find yourself striving, working, laboring, wondering, waiting, and you know, let me use one of my Georgia words, fin to. I'm fin to fixing to. You always find yourself in the position of fixing to, fin to, one of these days I'm going to. After a while, by and by. But I want you to understand that abundance is right now. Abundance is exactly where you are, and it is exactly who you are, and that abundance has a divine nature. that is tied and tethered to your own divinity and the divinity of God in you, and that it waits to expand, explore, and express itself in, through, and as you, but you have to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You have to shift your mindset, your concept, your construct of who you think you are, and start moving from believing into the arena of knowing. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? Good morning. I see your comments. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being so kind. I appreciate each and every one of you. Good morning. Thank you for tagging so many people and alerting them and inviting them to come over. I need other people to do the same. Thank you, Toya. She's tagged so many people. She always does. I need all the rest of you to do the same thing. If you will, please just tag as many people as you can in the comments. Let's help to grow this particular platform. So today, this conversation is going to be centered around one of the 10 principles that we are focusing our attention on during the course of these 90 days of abundance. And this particular principle is principle number 1. This is the first principle of those 10 that we have been giving our attention to, meditating on, praying with, in agreement with, in alignment with. By the way, we are meeting every single morning at 6 a.m. for a time of meditation and prayer that is centered and focused around abundance. And I invite you to join us every morning at 6 a.m. for just 20 minutes of meditation and prayer. Total 20 minutes of just meditation and prayer to set your intention for today and to begin to shift your mindset. So the 10 principles, as we've gone through all of them, and now we're going through them again as we are at day 15, are all centered around giving you a different context for understanding the divinity of abundance. And the very first principle is the one that we want to focus our attention on because it speaks directly to the divinity of abundance, God's divinity, our divinity, and the divinity of abundance. Okay? It reads as follows, and I just want to read this particular principle to you. Those of you who've been following us and working through the 90 days of abundance, you're familiar with this. But for those of you who are not, I want you to make sure you write this down. So I'm going to read it a few times so that you're able to get it. If you don't get it after those few times, of course, I'll leave the video up and you're able to come back and listen to it again and write it down. And the principles are printed on all of the subsequent videos and the previous videos as well. So you're able to go and look at them there. Here is principle 1. It says simply, this is a statement of truth. God is lavish, unfailing abundance. The rich, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, and omniactive and sovereign substance of the universe. Okay? This is what principle 1 says to us. Actually, that's not all of it. Let me read the rest of it for you. Okay? I've got to pull it back up here. God is lavish, unfailing abundance, the rich, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, omniactive, sovereign substance of the universe. This all-providing source of infinite prosperity is individualized as me. It is the reality of me. Let me read it again. God is lavish, unfailing abundance. The rich, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, and omniactive and sovereign substance of the universe. This all-providing source of infinite prosperity is individualized as me. It is the reality of me. I'm going to read it one more time because I know there's some who are trying to write it down as I'm saying it. I should have put this on a slide so I could put it on the screen for you. I'll try and remember that the next time. One more time. God is lavish, unfailing abundance. The rich, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, omniactive, and sovereign substance of the universe. Okay? The rich, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, omniactive, and sovereign substance of the universe. This all-providing source of infinite prosperity is individualized as me. It is the reality of me. Now, this morning, while I'm going to deal with the entirety of that particular statement, that principle, I really want to focus our attention on those omni words that are at the beginning, because that is the expression or the defining qualities and character of divinity. To be omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, and omniactive and sovereign. Okay? Those are the characteristics of divinity. The essence of God, ladies and gentlemen, the Spirit of God. Let's deal with these very first things. Okay? Very first attribute or character of divinity is to be omnipresent. God is omnipresent. The essence of God is not some presence that is afar off, sitting in the sky on a throne with a white beard and a scepter in his hand and a crown on his head. But God is omnipresent. That means there is no place that God is not. The very nature of God is, as they used to say when I was a kid, God is everywhere. Old folks said everywhere. They didn't say every. Everywhere. Everywhere. Okay? God is everywhere. There is no place that God is not. Now, naturally, religious people kind of contradict this all the time because they'll say, well, God is everywhere, and then turn around and say, well, God ain't in that, and God ain't over there, and God ain't in no club, and God ain't in no crack house, and God ain't in you. They tell you that in a minute, but that is in contradiction to the very nature of God, that there is no place that God is not. God is omnipresent, meaning everywhere at all times in every situation and circumstance. There is no place that God is not. Okay? That God is multidimensional, multifaceted, that God is ubiquitous throughout the universe, throughout the world, the stratosphere, across dimensional lines, and throughout the multiverse. There is no place that God is not. David illustrates this when he says, where could I ever go from the presence of God? If I take wings and fly, if I go make my bed in hell, if I go to the far reaches of the earth, in every place, he says, when I get there, God is there. that wherever I might find myself, whether it is in the highest of heights, in other dimensions, places, time, spaces, if I arrive in that place, wherever I am, God is. Wherever I am, God is. That is a powerful statement. I need you to understand what that means, what the implications of that is. That there is no place that exists throughout the multiverse, throughout the universe, throughout the earth, no space or place in time that God is not present in. God is everywhere. Now that sounds really simplistic until you start to understand the full implication of the omnipresence of God, and the nature of God is to be in every place at all times. Ladies and gentlemen, what that simply implies or infers or demands even is that if God is omnipresent, if God is ubiquitous throughout all existence, then since God is divine abundance, that there is no lack, want, need, or scarcity, any place that God is then is filled with abundance. And since God is in every place at all times, wherever God is, there is abundance, then it means that abundance exists in every corner of the stratosphere, of the atmosphere, of the multiverse, of the universe, that there is no place that abundance is not available, that there is no place that abundance is not at work. There is no place that God fills where abundance does not equally fill, because God is there. If God is there, then abundance is there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, God lives in you. Let me say that again. Let me say it again. I need you to get the full implication of this. God lives in, through, and as you. And so since God is in, through, and as you, and wherever God is, there is abundance. There is no lack, want, need, scarcity, or poverty. Then that means there is no lack, want, need, scarcity, or poverty in you. It only exists as an illusion within your own mind. It is the illusion of separation that allows us to compartmentalize and create this idea of want, need, scarcity, lack, and poverty within our conscious mind. It is an illusion, a delusion, a self-imposed delusion that prevents us from living in the reality of the fact that abundance abides in, through, and as me in the person of God. Are you understanding what I'm saying? There's a further implication that I'm going to point out to you in just a moment, but I need you to grasp this, that abundance lives, moves, resides, and reverberates within your being, that you are the personification of abundance in action, in movement, that the kinetic energy of abundance, of increase and prosperity resides within you, that you are not seeking to get abundance, but that you are abundant, that your very nature is abundant. Do you understand what I'm saying? Where can we lack, hide in the face of the omnipresence of abundance. Since God is omnipresent, if God is everywhere, then abundance is everywhere. And that means that God is in me, and therefore abundance is in me as well. Where can scarcity thrive when the omnipotent, omnipresent presence of God is? How can scarcity and abundance abide in the same place? How can God be there and there be lack, want, need, or scarcity or poverty? It cannot exist. The only place that it can exist or you can experience it is when you are reflecting a reality from a mind that is deluded with the idea of poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, you transform your existence. You move from the state of experiencing the delusion to the reality of abundance. The moment that you recognize that God is lavish, unfailing, abundant, and God is omnipresent, meaning God is present in, through, and as me. Therefore, that abundance is in, through, and as me, and the poverty, lack, need, or want that I've been experiencing is all an illusion that I can stop, that I can cease, that I can dissipate, that I can destroy, deconstruct the moment I shift my mind. I am transformed by the anakinosis, the renewing of my mind, by beginning to grasp and embrace and align myself with this simple truth. God is everywhere. And since God is everywhere, God's abundance accompanies it, and it is everywhere. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? Abundance is in, through, and as you. Wait a minute, but there's a further and deeper, more meaningful implication that comes from this particular understanding. Because God is divine, and one of the characteristics of that divinity, the nature of that divinity, is to be omnipresent. And you and I, watch this now, are the divine reflection, the image of God, the expression of God in animated form. Excuse me, hit the mic. That you and I are God manifested in three-dimensional form, individualized as you and I, then it means that same nature of abundance resides in, through, and as me. Wait, hold on. You're saying we got that. You said that already, but I'm trying to get you somewhere because I need you to understand this, so that if then that nature abides in, through, and as me, the abundant nature of God, that wherever God is, abundance is, then it means that wherever I am, abundance is as well. What? Yes, abundance and prosperity. I don't follow it, it follows me. Abundance and prosperity, increase, wealth in every facet of our being is not something I am chasing or pursuing, but it is the residual effect of my presence. Good gracious, have mercy. Did you catch what I just said? That abundance is the residual effect of my you don't believe this. Let me give you a biblical story, a biblical allegory that speaks to the nature of what I just said. The scriptures tell the story of a young man named Joseph, who has several brothers who represent the 12 tribes of Israel, who were jealous of Joseph because he had a dream about his position and his station in life and what his future would unfold to be. And so they took Joseph, y'all know this story, and they threw him into a lifelong journey that ultimately would bring him to his destiny. But the journey required that he went through a pit, and then he was a prisoner, and then he was a prisoner, a servant, and then he went to becoming a prisoner in jail, and then he went to the palace. He went from the pit to the palace. But there is something that you need to notice from this story that you may have heard 100 times over that you never really paid attention to. When his brothers grabbed hold of him and dug a pit and threw him into the pit, it said, and God was with Joseph, and Joseph was a prosperous man. Did you hear what I said? Wait a minute. How in the world does it call him prosperous when he is in the pit? How does it call him, say that God is with him when he finds himself in the pit? And some of you may find yourself in a pit right now, a pit of debt, a pit of worry, frustration, and heartache or pain, all kinds of pits that seem to be surrounding you. How do I declare myself blessed and that God is with me while I am in the pit? Because when I understand, rather, that God is present, omnipresence, the omnipresence of God exists with me even while I'm in the pit. And wherever I am, then abundance is as well. Well, Joseph didn't have anything. He was down in the pit. He was there in a dark place. He didn't have any creature comforts while he was sitting in the pit. But abundance is not personified by creature comfort. But abundance is a divine spirit, a divine anointing. It is a divine presence. It's a divine power that is upon the life and resident in Joseph. And so what do you think drew Potiphar and all of his guards toward that particular spot at that particular time that Joseph just happened to be in the pit? Of all the directions and all the paths that Potiphar could have taken on his journey, he just happened to come by the very pit where Joseph was. Why? Because the abundance that was in him said that you might be in the pit, but you can't stay here. It's going to radiate an energy, a magnetic force that will draw resources to the very place that you are, that will eventually pull you up out of the pit. Did you hear what I just said? Great day in the morning. I'm trying to get you to understand that no matter where you happen to find yourself right now, as a consequence of whatever the results may have been taking place in your life, you may find yourself in a desert, you may find yourself in a pit, you may find yourself painted into a corner, you may find yourself in the projects, you may find yourself in a poverty, low, economically stricken place, but wherever you are, when you begin to align yourself with the understanding that the abundance of Spirit of God, the abundant force, nature, and anointing of God is in, through, and as me, then that spirit radiates from you and becomes the magnetic force that not only draws you to, but draws to you the resources that are necessary to pull you out of the pit. Do you understand that I'm saying that wherever you find yourself, that God will begin to draw toward you those people, places, and things that are necessary to pull you up out of the low place where you find yourself. Why? Because the spirit of lavish, unfailing abundance is resident within you and radiating from you. That energy draws to it resources like light draws a moth to it, like honey draws bears to it. Do you understand what I'm saying? There is something in, through, as, and on you that is always constantly drawing resources your way. If they throw me in a desert, come back in a few days and I will have built a city. If you throw me in the middle of the ocean and I'll come back, you come back and I will have built an entire luxury cruise line. Wherever you put me, I'm going to prosper, because prosperity is not confined to my location, but prosperity is within me. Abundance is within me. I'm not looking for abundance. I bring abundance when I show up. My presence demands that things begin to flourish and work right. Even after he was taken out of the pit, he didn't go directly into a palace. He was brought into servitude. But the scriptures teach that while Joseph was in Potiphar's house, everything in Potiphar's house started to prosper. Everything started to go well. And the scriptures called Joseph again as a slave, as a servant in Potiphar's house. It still described him as a blessed and prosperous man, and declared that God was with Joseph. And as a result of God being with, through, in, and as Joseph, everything in Joseph's house began to prosper. Not Joseph, but Potiphar's house began to prosper. Why? Because Joseph was there. Do you understand that your presence brings prosperity? Oh my goodness. Let me say it again. I said your presence brings prosperity. Your presence, your very presence, just the simple fact that you are there. Things that didn't work before start to work better, start to flow smoothly, start to function at a high level, not because of the system that's in place, but because somebody who understood the resident power of abundance that is residing in, through, and as them walked into the place. And when they walked in, they brought the presence of the Almighty, the presence of the all of everything, and they brought the presence of abundance, the power of abundance with them, and that power began to affect everything around them. I want you to know that when you show up, you bring the power of abundance with you. Did you hear what I said? Greg, Dave. I said, when you show up, if you show up in that business, if you show up in that endeavor, you show up in that investment, you show up in that place. It may have been poverty stricken before you got there, but when you get there with your conscious awareness of the divine nature of abundance that is within you, you begin to bring about a chain reaction of abundance in everything that you touch, everything that you encounter, every place that you walk into. People want to get close to you. They want to draw to you because it seems like everything you say and everything you touch comes up gold, comes up roses, comes up abundant. It's because of what is in you, through you, and as you. Abundance is omnipresent. And so wherever you are, abundance is also. I could go on and finish the story. He goes from the pit to being in Potiphar's house as a slave, and the whole entire organization and system that Potiphar has in place runs better. He eventually, through a set of circumstances, is thrown in the prison, and the prison begins to run better. And all of a sudden now he's elevated from just being a regular prisoner to being a trustee. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Some of you who understand how that works, you know what that means, that trustee. You now have more privileges than the other prisoners that are around you, and eventually it brings him to the place of his destiny. Can I tell you that when the resident spirit of God is within you, that spirit of anointing and that anointing of abundance that's on your life will not only deliver you out of the pit and cause every place you're in to prosper, but it will eventually bring you to your place of destiny. That destiny and purpose draw prosperity. Prosperity follows the purpose of your life. That you may start out in the pit and you may end up in a place of servitude for Potiphar. So don't despise the job that you might be working right now. I don't want to spend the rest of my life working for somebody else. You won't. You are there for the specific purpose to learn how to gauge, operate, manipulate, and control that abundant spirit anointing that is upon your life, and for it to bring that lavish, unfailing prosperity to the place that you happen to be in. And yes, the job starts to run smoother, and your employer is more increased and blessed because of your presence there, because you have understood who you are in your divinity. But eventually that same divine abundance that brought you to the job will deliver you from the job to the next place in the step of the journey toward your purpose and destiny. And eventually you will find yourself in the palace. That is the place of destiny and purpose. You will find yourself in the place that you were designed for before the foundations of the earth, because that divine spirit brought you to that place. It is a process. Oh, I just cussed right then. Yeah, Lord. It is a process. See, some of you are looking for abracadabra, hocus pocus, but you've been living with that mindset of poverty the entirety of your life. Now you shift your mind and you think that overnight, you're going to become a billionaire. It doesn't work that way, but it will begin to work to bring you through the process that brings you ultimately to the purpose of your life. And wherever purpose is, prosperity follows. Do you hear what I'm saying? Yeah, you got to walk through that process, but it begins with the transformation that happens as a result of you renewing your mind, understanding the divine nature of abundance that is within you. Okay? So scarcity cannot thrive when the omnipotent, omnipresent power flows through every circumstance. God's abundance is not just around us, but within us. For this source of infinite prosperity is individualized as each and every one of us. It is the reality of who we are. Let me say that again. This unfailing, lavish prosperity is individualized as each and every one of us. It is the reality of who we are. Stop thinking of yourself as being poor, broke, busted, and disgusted. Stop thinking of yourself by whatever family idea or concept or environmental idea or concept or religious idea or concept that has been imposed upon you. Well, we're Mouses, and the Mouses have always been X, Y, and Z, and this runs in our family. Well, it runs out today. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Come on. It runs out today. Mama might have been poor. Grandmama might have been poor. Great granddaddy might have been poor. But poverty ends today with me. It ends right here. And my children and my children's children and my children's children's children and my generations that will follow will now walk in the abundance that I have realized in the present moment. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? That's who you are. You are abundant. Abundance is your nature. It is individualized as you. It is the reality of who you are. You are an unstoppable force of divine spirit that abides and abounds and flourishes in every situation, circumstance, and relationship. It flourishes simply because of the presence of your divine being. Are you following what I'm saying to you this morning? Now, it is not just omnipresent, but it is also omnipotent. Omnipresent in every place, no place where it is not, everywhere, but then omnipotent. As it relates to abundance, omnipotence means that the power behind divine abundance is all powerful, unlimited, and absolute. Let me say that again, that the power behind divine abundance is all powerful, unlimited, and absolute. God is all powerful. There is no power greater than God. There is no power that exists outside of God. Hello, come on. There's a scriptural text in Romans that says that every power is subject to the higher power, and there is no power except that power that emanates from God. God is the source of all power. God is not only all powerful, but is the source from which all existing powers emanate from. God is all powerful, unlimited, and absolute. God has absolute power, where the power that is unlimited and absolute and all powerful is the same power that empowers abundance. Are you catching what I'm saying to you? God's abundance is not just generous, but it is backed by the infinite, unstoppable force that can bring forth prosperity in any situation, no matter how impossible it might seem. It makes rivers in the desert. It brings water from a rock. It turns dry places into rivers. It makes a way out of no way. It takes 2 fish and 5 loaves and feeds 5,000. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? That this power of God is able to take a little and make it a lot. Take nothing and cause something to appear. It is the power that says, allow there to be, let there be. And when he says, allow it, everything in the universe aligns itself with the reverberating sound of its voice and aligns itself with its command, pulls back every restraint, and allows what has always been to now come shining through. That's power. That is exousia, authority, and that is what's the other word? Lord, I lost it. Great day. dynamic power. I don't know how I lost this word. I use it all the time. Okay? That power is there. That power transforms. That power is what backs, supports, and enforces the abundance that is at work. There is nothing that can stop the unstoppable, absolute power of abundance. It is like trying to stand under Niagara Falls with a board and saying, I'm going to stop this water from coming down. You can't. You'll be crushed under the weight of it because the strength, the power, the force of Niagara Falls is so great, nothing can stand under it to stop it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the power, the omnipotent, unmatched, absolute power of God that is resident behind the force of abundance is unstoppable. It's like trying to stop water coming down from the waterfall. It's like trying to stop the sun's rays from shining and beaming throughout the universe. It's like trying to stop the unstoppable. It is powerful. It is absolute. It is all powerful. That is the power behind abundance. And that same power, listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, that same power, that omnipotent power that is the very nature of God, thereby the substratum of abundance, is also your nature. I need you to understand this. I need you to get this. I need you to wrap your mind around this, that there is a power at work in you, through you, and as you that is there supporting your abundance that is unstoppable. The only thing that limits the power to work in you is your disbelief in that power. Did you understand what I just said? Listen, even the scriptures that teaches this principle, it says, now unto him that is God, the all-powerful, the omnipotent God, that is able. And if God is able, it is his ability, his ableness, its ableness is defined by our being, because God is in us, through us, and as us, is able, watch this, to do exceedingly, watch this, abundantly, watch now, above anything that you could ask or even begin to think or imagine within your mind. But listen to the caveat that is attached at the end of the verse, at the end of the principle. It's that there is no limit to God's ability. Able. God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you could ask or think. No limit to its ability, no limit to its capacity, no limit to what it's able to do in, through, and as us. Wait a minute. According, it says, to the power that is at work in us. Did you hear what it said? It says its ability works in direct correspondence to the power that is at work in us. Well, what prevents the power to be at work? The word work there is from the Greek word synergeo, from which we get the word synergy, that is working as one with us. It infers that this power is this power emanates from us and is working with us, through us, and as us. And so it says it is in direct correspondence to the power that is at work in, through, and as us. What could limit that power from working in, through, and as us? Either the ignorance or the disbelief that that power is in, through, and as us. Everything around us, especially religion, Lord have mercy, something to make my church folk mad, promotes the idea of us being a bunch of cripples and dependents. And I'm just leaning and depending on the Lord. I'm waiting on God to come and fix it. Jesus, sweep down and fix the problem, fix my situation, fight my battle for me, because I's weak and I's born and I's in the muck and the mire, and I can't do nothing. I can't help myself. I just pitiful pilgrim passing through. I can't do nothing, Lord. I can't do nothing. You got to do it for me, Jesus, because I can't do nothing on my own. And that's why you keep getting the same results that you have, because you have adapted the damnable idea that you are weak and frail and broken, and that you can't do anything. You are completely crippled and dependent upon the sky daddy, this invisible force to swoop down and fight for you and provide for you and look out for you and defend you and take care of you, when in fact, no, what God has said and what the scriptures continuously promote is the idea that God is in us. How do you reconcile the idea of being poor, pitiful, and busted, disgusted, and broken, and helpless, and crippled with the idea of greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world, that I can do all things through the Christ, the anointing that strengthens me, that I can run through troops and leap over walls, that there is nothing that I cannot accomplish, nothing that I cannot have. But how do you equate that greater work shall I do? How do you equate that with being poor, pitiful, busted, and disgusted? How do you equate that with your being, I was just your child down here waiting on you, Lord, to fix it for me, Jesus? Y'all not hearing what I'm saying? It is the epitome of ignorance and self-imposed imprisonment to put yourself in a position where you feel like you got to wait for some magic trick, some abracadabra, some prophecy, some laying on of hands, and some divine spirit to come swooping down to where you are. First of all, why does God need to come anywhere, since we already established that God is everywhere? And since God is present in, through, and around you, then I'm not waiting on God to show up or to do anything. I am now accessing the power that is within me, this unlimited, absolute power that is within me, and then being the vessel through which that power works, and then begin to back the abundance that is my nature. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Quit sitting around waiting on somebody and something to come and rescue you, and start to recognize that you have the unlimited, unstoppable force within you as you to change your situation and your circumstance, to shift your entire life, to take you from point A to point B, to move you from poverty into prosperity. You have the power to change your circumstance. You not only have the presence, that is the presence of God's spirit there in you, through you, and as you, but you also have the power. Omnipresence gives you the presence. It gives you the presence, but omnipotence gives you the power. You have the presence and the power to shift your situation, change your circumstance. Quit sitting around waiting for somebody to fix it for you. Quit waiting on a sweet chariot to swing down and let you ride. Quit waiting on somebody to prophesy over you. Quit waiting on someone to give you a word from the Lord. You're the word that's been spoken from the mouth of God that cannot go out and return to him void. You are the word that he watches over to perform. You are the word that will never pass away. You are that divine word. You are that rhema. You are that divine logos. You are the idea, the concept. You are the power that marries itself to the presence that brings about ultimate change in your life. Great day. I've been on here for too long already. I got to get through these next two and then I'm done. I promise you I'm done. I don't seem to ever stay within the hour. Huh? I'm trying. So let me get through these next two. So we talked about him, God being omnipresent in every place. Therefore, the nature of abundance is in every place. Abundance is in every place at all times. It is omnipotent. The power that is behind abundance is absolute and unstoppable. The next characteristic of divinity, rather, is in omniscience, all knowing. In relationship to abundance, omniscience means that the divine source of abundance possesses infinite knowledge and perfect wisdom. Let me say that again. It means that the divine source of abundance, God, possesses infinite knowledge and perfect wisdom. See, and some of you are struggling with this right now because you're like, well, yeah, I know God does, but I don't, because you have bought into this illusion of separation, the delusion of separation, as if there is some difference between you and God. You are the divine image and likeness of God. So if God is, so are you. That same spirit, force, power, energy that raised up Jesus from the dead is the same spirit, power, force, energy, anointing, presence that quickens or makes alive, animates your three-dimensional form, your body. That spirit is you. Lord, I'm trying to get through to somebody. I'm trying to help some folk, some religious folk who have been living in this place of bondage and servitude and bought into the lie that you some poor, pitiful pilgrim and miserable and weak and worn. I'm trying to get you to understand that you are divinity expressed. And part of your divinity is your omnipotent, unlimited force and power, unmatched power, and your presence in every place at all times. Your ubiquitous presence that is powered by the omnipotent force of spirit that you are. And then we talk about omniscience. All-knowing. Watch this. There is no limit to the insight, foresight, guiding the manifestation of prosperity. Are you understanding what I'm saying? God, as the omniscient source of all things, knows exactly what it's doing. It knows what is required before it can ever become a need. I don't know if you even caught what I just said. I said, because God is omniscient, all-knowing, God knows exactly what is required in every situation and circumstance before it ever becomes a need. Did you catch what I just said? Because God knows the end from the beginning, that there is nothing that is escaped outside of the parameters of the knowing knowledge of God. God knows what is required in every situation, circumstance that will ever exist, that has existed, and that is existing right now before it ever becomes a need. Good gracious, man, did you catch? Man, I said God knows before it ever has the opportunity to become a need. It only becomes a need when you don't know that God knows. And since God knows, then I know that provision is necessary and required for this particular place, person, and thing. And when I know that provision is necessary before it ever becomes a need, the need never arises because the presence and the power supplies but what is required for the moment before it ever becomes a need. It never reaches the place of becoming a need, a want, a lack, a scarcity, because I am knowledgeable of what is coming. Y'all don't believe that? For those of you who need it, I got Bibles for you. Because the Spirit of God, according to St. John chapter 15, its job, God's Spirit, God's presence within me, through me, and as me, leads and guides me into all truth. Wait a minute. See, that's where most people stop with the verse. It doesn't just say that it will lead and guide me into all truth. It says, and it will show me things that are to come. That the Spirit that is resident within me, that is me, that I am the personification of, that I am the animated expression of, that Spirit is now tasked with the requirement to lead and guide, that is, give me direction, lay out a roadmap that leads me into all truth, and watch this, to show me what is to come, to give me a preview, to give me a foreknowledge of everything before it takes place. I am able to see what is coming, thereby knowing what is required before it ever has the opportunity to become a need. Because when I know what is required for where I'm going and where I'm going to be and what I'm going to do and what I've been set forth to fulfill the purpose or the destiny that's upon my life, then the presence and the power begins to manufacture and manifest what is required before it ever becomes a need. That is the omniscient power of the divine spirit of abundance that lives in, through, and as each and every one of us. Do you understand that the divine presence and power of God that is resident and foundational to abundance is also constantly at work, giving you insight, knowledge of what is to come, so that it can always begin to make provision before you get there? And watch this. Here's the thing. Here is the thing. This is gonna bless your soul real good. And then I got to move on, because I got one more that I got to get in here before we get out of here, and I'm already 15 minutes over my time. So I got to do this quickly. But here's the thing. This is gonna blow your mind. This is gonna bless you real good. It is at work in, through, and as you, that omniscience, even when you're not consciously aware of it. Here it is. It is at work for you, even when you're not consciously aware of it. It is already, because of its foreknowledge that is resident within you, working within your subconscious mind. It is already now working with the divine nature of God, the presence, the power, and the omniactive. That's the last one that we're going to deal with in just a moment. Now going before you into what you would call future, and making provision for your arrival before you even get there, and you're not even conscious that that's what's happening. Imagine what would happen when you become consciously aware of it. But even with your not being conscious of it, it is already preparing. Preparing. It knows and then makes provision. Woo! Are you hearing what I'm saying? I'll give you another allegorical story from the Bible. It is when Jonah finds himself on a ship, and the ship is being tossed and turned. He's trying to get away from the presence. How stupid is that? trying to get away from the presence of God, but you can't go anywhere where the presence is not. Trying to escape the power of God, but you can't go anywhere where the power of God is not. And so he's on this ship, and the ship is being tossed to and fro. And then everybody starts to pray to try and figure out where this is coming from. And Jonah says, don't waste your prayers, don't waste your time. I'm the problem. I'm trying to run. I'm trying to get away from the purpose that was assigned to my life before I entered this three-dimensional form. I'm the problem. And they said, okay, well then, Jonah, if you the problem, how do we fix it? And Jonah says, the best thing for y'all, if you want to survive, is to throw me overboard. They were hesitant at first, but then those waves started hitting their ship a little bit. And I'm just like, okay, Jonah, remember you said this because we getting ready to get rid of your butt because we don't want to die out here on these waters. And so they take Jonah up and they pick him up over the bow of the ship in the name of the Lord. And they throw Jonah overboard. And listen, here's the part that I want you to get. Here's the part that I want you to get. Here's the part of the allegory that stands out. They throw him overboard. And the scriptures say in the allegory that God had prepared a great fish. You didn't catch that. Y'all didn't catch that. God had prepared a great fish to be at that exact location so that when Jonah hit the water, the fish would swallow him up. And the fish would be the vehicle that would take him from the waters to the shore. Y'all didn't get it. Y'all didn't get it. Y'all didn't get it. Y'all didn't get it. The preparation before it could ever become a need, because Jonah was going to need to get to Nineveh. How are you going to get there from the middle of the water? Because of the all-knowing spirit, knowing exactly what Jonah was going to do before he ever did it. God prepared this great fish to be born, spawned at the exact moment in time, go through the maturation process, come to adulthood at the exact moment, and in the time period, swim to the longitude and latitude where Jonah would be thrown overboard at the exact moment in time that he would come overboard, hit the water, so the fish could catch it and catch him, and then take him from the ship to the shore. How did the fish know to be there? The all-knowing, yay, that is at work in both Jonah through as God is now bringing the necessary resources to the place before a need could ever be developed and have it waiting for when Jonah hits the water. Can I tell you that the all-knowing nature of divine abundance within you is already knowing of every situation, circumstance, and choice or relationship that you will ever make in your entire life, that you will ever, every direction that you will ever take in your entire existence, that every road or path that you would walk down, that divine knowing is already present and knowledgeable of it, and therefore has the responsibility to not only know, but to make provision for. Which brings me to the last part, the last characteristic of the divine nature. It is not only the presence of God, omnipresent, the power of God, omnipotent, the knowing of God, all-knowing, but it is also the omniactive, constantly moving and in motion, constantly creating and making provision, preparing, so that when you get to that place, provision has already been made. A way has already been set. The fish is already there waiting. And while it's grimy in the fish, it's nasty in the fish, it's dark in the fish, seaweed wrapped around his head, and he wished for death while he was in the fish. Yet he comes to the revelation, they that observe lying vanities shall forsake their own mercies, but I will sacrifice unto the Lord, he says. I've learned that you can't get away from who you are. The presence and power and the knowing of God that is resident within me has brought me to this point, and provision was there to catch me and hold me in abeyance while it transports me from the ship to the shore, from the problem to the solution, from the poverty to prosperity. Are you understanding the words that are coming out of my mouth? It is actively working to make provision for you. Do you understand that the Spirit of God that is in you, through you, and as you is constantly at work for you, making provision before you can ever arrive, before the need can ever form, before it can ever become a need, a want, a lack, or a scarcity? That omniactive Spirit is already at work creating the provision necessary to transport you from wherever you are to the place where you belong. To get you to the place where you belong, to put you in the place of purpose. Do you understand that that is the nature of abundance? To always make provision that is prescribed to get you to the place of purpose. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? In the context of abundance, omniactive means that the divine abundance is continuously at work everywhere at all times without pause. It describes a dynamic, ever-present force that is not passive, that is not dormant, but always active and unfolding in every aspect of our life to get us to the place of purpose and prosperity. When we say that abundance is omniactive, we are affirming that it is not confined to a specific place, time, or situation. It is perpetually creating, expanding, manifesting in the world and in our lives and throughout the multiverse. This means that the flow of prosperities and resources and opportunities and blessings are constantly available to us and made for us, even when we're not consciously aware that it's being made. We are never outside of the reach of abundance, of God's reach in us, through us, and as us, because it is always in motion, working for our good and unfolding in ways that we may not always see or understand or comprehend. The omniactive nature of abundance is the omniactive nature of God that is always at work, making provision before it ever becomes a need. So you have the presence, the power, the knowing, and the provision. Okay? I need another P for knowing, huh? How about premonition? The presence, the power, the premonition, and the provision. Hey! Premonition, knowing beforehand. Preparedness is always at work in us, through us, and as us. Why are you sitting around because of your disbelief, or maybe just your simple ignorance of knowing that this all resides in, through, and as you, and you sitting around whining and complaining and operating in fear, doubt, and unbelief? The Spirit of God that is in you, through you, and as you is at work, making provision and trying to get you to open your eyes so that you can see that things are not as they appear. Yay! Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. I came to tell somebody this morning that things are not as they appear. Anything that does not align itself with abundance is not your reality. It is a reality, but it is not your reality. It only becomes your reality if you embrace and adopt it as your reality and align yourself with it. But the moment that you become aware of the presence, power, the premonition, and the preparedness, the provision of the divine within you, is the moment that you recognize that this is not my reality. My reality is right here. My reality is in power. My reality is in presence. My reality is in the knowing, the premonition. My reality is in the provision and prosperity of divine spirit that resides within me. Are you understanding the words that are coming out of my mouth? So, ladies and gentlemen, gracious of life, man, this is good. So, ladies and gentlemen, the lavish, unfailing abundance that God is, the rich, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, omniactive, sovereign substance of the universe is resident within us. It is the all-providing source of infinite prosperity that is individualized as us. It is the reality of who we are. So today I want you to come out of that place of living in the space, the delusionary space that you've created of fear, doubt, unbelief, of want, need, lack, scarcity, and poverty, and awaken to the presence, the power, the premonition, and the provision of the divine nature of abundance that is resident in, through, and as you. Always working to pave a smooth path to the fulfillment of your purpose and the accomplishing of your destiny. Whew. My goodness. All right, I'm done. I'm done. Great day. I'm done. What a word. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you an opportunity to support this platform with your gift by either giving an offering, sowing a seed, or making a sacrifice. We're working with those numbers 9 and 8 because they're representative of the season that we find ourselves in, this harvest time that we are in. And we're working with those numbers 9 and 8. And so I'm going to give you the opportunity to sow today your seed, or to give your offering, or to make a sacrifice in support of this platform so that we can have the resources available to do even more and reach a larger and broader audience. You can use any of these financial transactions or platforms that you see on your screen, our CashApp, Zelle, PayPal, and Venmo, to give your offering or sow your seed or to make your sacrifice. The offering is $9.98. If you're going to sow a seed today, we're asking you to sow a seed of $99.80. And if you're going to give a sacrifice, we're asking you to give $998. So the offering is $9.98. The seed, $99.80. Sacrifice, $998. Choose whichever one you decide to align yourself with, or with all three. And support us today. We appreciate your generosity. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in again with us here today at the Emerge Empowerment Session. If you'd like to become a partner with the Emerge movement, the information is written in the description above. All you simply have to do is shoot me an email at the address that is sitting above, the email address that's above there in the description, and simply say, I want in. I'll send you back an email with an information packet that tells you everything about the Emerge movement and also contains a partner agreement. Once you sign the partner agreement and send it back to me, you are immediately given access to the partner portal and you become a full partner with the Emerge movement. Partnership has its privileges. And you know this, it's in our introduction. It's also in our outro that also talks about the privileges of partnership. I want to invite you to become a partner with the Emerge movement. I want to invite you also to continue to participate in this 90 days of abundance. Meet us every single morning at 6 a.m. for our time of prayer and meditation that is centered around shifting our mindset from one of poverty to abundance and changing our lived experience so that we can live the abundant life. Every morning, 6 a.m. for just 20 minutes. Join us here, Facebook Live, as well as on YouTube Live. Thank you again for tuning in. I love you and have an absolutely abundant day.
Some of you are even afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
You've been listening to Apostle Isaac Miles, the disruptive innovator, a mentor, an author, a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, and the founder and spiritual director at emergelec Life Enrichment Center. Please take a minute to subscribe, like, and share this page. If you'd like to become a partner, you can do so by emailing us at emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Again, that's emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for watching.